Right, welcome to the second lesson of our YouTube videos. So today, as the learning objective shows, we're going to look at recurring decimals and we can using dot notation. So we're going to be writing those with dot notation, and we're going to be finding the percentage of a number. So I think the expected date that we're going to be doing this is the 24th of the 4th. So, but whatever date you're doing your work, could you write today's date, please, and the learning objective. Pause the video while you're doing that. Can you please make sure that you also have access in the textbook to page 142 in the textbook. We're not going to be doing too much from the textbook today. Page 142. So pause the video, get that done, and then we'll start the lesson. Okay. Right, so first of all, using dot notation. Now this first part of the lesson, when we come to do the work in our books, I'm quite happy for you to use a calculator to do this. If you haven't got a calculator, you can still work it out, but I'm sure you will have on your phones. So let's say, for example, I wanted to find 4/9 as a decimal. So 4/9 is a decimal. So that is, of course, as we learned last time, 4 divided by 9. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 4 divided by 9 equals, and I get that as my answer, okay, 0.444. And those would go on forever. That's a recurring number. Now, using dot notation, the rule is with dot notation is that you put a dot over the beginning and end of a sequence to show it recurs. Now, in this case, it's only one number. Okay, so it's just because it's just 4's going on forever. We're just going to put this one. We're going to change that to dot notation would equal to 0.4, and we put a dot over there showing that 0.4 is recurring. Okay, now we can do another question. Let's do 7/12. Okay, 7 divided by 12 equals, and this time we've got, okay, so 7/12 is equal to, and that's 7 divided by 12, 0.58. And again, this time is the 3's. Again, the 3 is the only thing that is recurring here. So again, we have 0.583, and we're just going to put the dot over the 3 because it's just the 3 that is recurring. Okay. Right, so look at another one. Let's do 5/11. 5 divided by 11 equals, so again, 5/11 according to my calculator. Are you able to see that on the calculator? Oh yeah. Equals 0.4545545, and so on. Okay, now again, it's the 4 and the 5 are recurring each time. The sequence is 4/5. That's the beginning of the sequence, that is the end of the sequence. So that would be 0.45 there, and that one would be recurring like that. Oops, 0.45. Now you can have other ones which are longer than that. So for example, you can have one which could perhaps be 0.435, 435, and that would go, and you can again, see the sequence here. It's 435. Okay, so again, you would put the dot at the beginning of the sequence and then the dot at the end of the sequence. So this one would be, that's how you would do it there. That would show that the 435 is the recurring number. Right, let's go at 5/11. So we know 5/11. I don't think so. Okay, oh no, we have. Let's do 11/15. 11/15. So on our calculator, 11 divided by 15 equals, yep, sorry, 0.7333, and so on. So again, we can convert, yeah, only the 3 here is recurring. So that's the only place we put the dot. So 0.73 with the dot on there, and we've got that recurring, and we're using the dot notation to show a recurring number. Okay, a recurring number. Right, just one thing before you go on to do some of the work on that. Just one other thing just to remember is that in case you get a little bit confused occasionally between rounding and dot notation. So if I've got 5 ninths, now I know that 5 ninths is equal to 0.555, and that will be recurring. Now if I'm asked 2, you can be asked in 2 ways to show whether it's recurring using dot notation or rounding to 2 decimal figures. Now if this is recurring, okay, if I'm going to do it recurring using dot notation, this then would be 0.5, like that, with a dot over the 5. If I am rounding to the 2 decimal places, now remember, I just go 1, 2, 2 numbers off the decimal point. Does the 5 affect the other 5? Yes, 5 and above you round up, so it becomes 0.56. So just be aware, and there's one question in this little set of questions where you will have to sort of round to 2 decimal places. So just be aware of that. Right. Again, if you haven't quite grasped it, have a few practices yourself. I'll have another little look at this part of the video. Have a go, please, on page 142. Page 142. Can we have a go, please, at questions 12, 13, 14, okay, and if you want to, it's optional for an extension. It's a good little bit of revision of what we've been learning. Question 15. So just 12, 13 and 14, and if you zoom through that really quickly, just have a little go at extension question 15. Okay, right, so pause the video, have a go at those, and then we'll carry on with the next part of the lesson, which is find a percentage of a number. All right, have a go at those. Okay, good luck. Right, we're going to look at percentage of a number. Percentage of a number. A lot of the stuff we will be doing tomorrow on this will be then involving money. So we will touch a little bit on that today. But find percentage of numbers. So say, for example, I wanted to find 10%. In fact, let's start with 50%. Okay, 50%. If I wanted to find 50% of £60. Okay, now I know 50% is the same as a half. Half of 60, £30. Okay, nice and straightforward. So when you're using percentages, very often it's easier to just turn it into a fraction, but not always, and we'll come to those in a second. So and then of course if I wanted to find 25% of £60, I know that 25% is the same as a quarter, and to find a quarter you halve it and halve it again. Okay, so that would be half of 50%, which would be sort of in this case £15, isn't it? 25% being a quarter of 60. Halve it again, and you get £15. And from there you can obviously work it if you're asked to do a 75% of £60. You would again, you do your 50%, add your 25%, gives you 75%. So if you add these, you get £45, isn't it? Because 50% is £30, 25% is £15. So 75% must therefore equal £45 because we're adding these along. Okay, so they're useful percentages to be able to find. The main one, I think, is to find 10% and go from there. So for example, to find 10% of anything, now we know that 10% is the same as a tenth, and to find a tenth of anything, we divide by 10. Okay, so 10% is the same as a tenth, and to find a tenth of something, we divide by 10. So to find 10% of something, we divide by 10. So if you were to find 10% of £40, okay, that is just dividing by 10. So it becomes 40 divided by 10, which will give you £4, would it? £4. So to find 10%, you're just finding a tenth of something. Again, once you found 10%, once you realize that 10% is equal to £4, you can find 20% quite easily, because that will be equal to £8. If I wanted to find 70%, okay, how am I getting from the 10 to the 70? I'm timesing by 7. I would do the same here. Times by 7. 7 fours, 28, I think. Yep. £28. Okay. So you start off with finding 10%, and from there, you know, sort of, it's easier to sort of go work it out from there. To find 1% of something, you need to be able to do as well. Okay, so find 1%, again, that is the same as 100th, and to find 100th of something, you divide by 100. So 1% of 1% of 500. Okay, so that would be 500 divided by 100 equals 5. How many hundreds in 500? 5. So 1% of 500 is 5. So to find 1% of something, you divide by 100. 10% you divide by 10. And knowing those really as your basics, you can find whatever percentage you want to, really. Certainly the sort of percentage we're going to do today. So if I wanted to find 15% of £40, okay, what I would do, I would see how can I split up this 15% into manageable pieces. So I'm going to find 10% first, and then I'm going to find 5%. And I know if I add those up, I get 15%. Okay, so to find 10% of 40, okay, I'm going to divide 40 by 10. Okay, to find 10%, you divide by 10. To find 10%, you divide by 10. 40 divided by 10 is 4. Okay, now if I want to find 5%, how am I getting from 10% to 5%? I'm of course dividing by 2. I'm halving it, aren't I? Halving it. So therefore 5% of 40 will be 2, because it's half of 4. Half of 4. 10% is 4, so 5% will be 2. Add those together, it's 6. Okay, so 15% of £6, of £40 is £6, and we do that just by splitting it up. Okay, and then we can do slightly trickier ones than that. So you might be asked to find 22% of £80. Okay. Now again, I'm going to start off by finding 10%. Okay. 10%. I'm just going to divide that by 10. 80 divided by 10 is 8. So now I can find out 20% quite easily. How am I getting from there to there? I'm timesing by 2. So I times by 2 here. So that becomes £16. Okay, so I know now that the 20% is £16. Now I know to find 2%. Okay, to find 2%, I'm going to find 1% first. Okay, now I know to find 1%, I divide by 100. So it becomes £80 divided by 100. Remember, when I'm dividing by 100, I'm moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. So that becomes, I'm going to move that 8 first of all to there. So actually that becomes 80 pence, £0, and 80 pence is 1%. Okay. Then I found the other 1%. Okay, which I know is also going to be 80 pence. Now, I don't need this 10% at the top now, okay, because I need to find 22%. 20, 1, 22. Add those up, it comes to 22%. So I just add up what I have calculated here, okay. So that becomes 0, 6, carry the 1, £17.60. Okay, £17.60. And that's just by splitting it up. So really, as long as I can do those basic ones of 25%, 50%, 10%, 1%, I can kind of find any number. If I wanted to find 99% of 50, actually I would find 1% of 50, so that's 50 divided by 100, okay, 50.00, so that's going to be 50 pence, okay, 50 pence, and then I could take it away, couldn't I? I could take that away from the 50, okay, because rather than find 99%, I can find 1% and take it away from that 50, okay, so it would be £50 minus 50 pence would give me £49.50. So I don't always have to go the long way. The long way of doing that one would be maybe to find 50%, then I could find 10%, then I would find 40% from there. Okay, I wouldn't need that 10% there. Then I might find 5% and then 1%. Try and find shortcuts. Try and be smart about how you do it. Okay, try and be smart how you do it. If I wanted to find 35% of, so let's find 35% of £30, okay, of £30, then this is how I'm going to do it. I can see what's the best way to split up this 35%. Well, I'm going to split it into 25% and 10%. Yeah, because then I have to do fewer calculations. So first of all, I found 25% of 30, so I know 25% is a quarter, so I'm going to find a quarter of £30, halve it, £15, halve it again, £7.50. So I know 25% is going to be £7.50. Then I'm going to find 10%. To find 10%, I divide by 10. 30 divided by 10 is going to be 3. Okay, I can add those up, and I have got £10.50. £10.50. So it's just when I find a percentage, I'm just breaking it up. I'm breaking it up into smaller pieces. Okay, and therefore, and then I can sort of work it out quite well, not easily, but with a little bit of hard work from there. Okay, right. I'm trying to keep these. I won't give any more examples now. If you're not too sure, please look at them again. Otherwise, the videos will go on for too long. That's all. You don't want to hear me droning on for too long, do you really? So for the second part of the work for today, we've obviously done the first part. Could you please answer these questions? Answer these questions. There is some. So here they are. What I would like you to do, can you please, just like I did in my examples there, can you split them up? So when you come to do this one, find 10% first, then 5%. In this one, you're going to find 20% and 1%. In this one, 10%, 5%, 1%, 1%. So show your workings out, please, so I know that people are doing them properly. If we can make sure we go do questions 1 to 5. Really, I pretty much expect everyone then also to do 6 and 7, unless you're really struggling on these. But you should be able to do 6 and 7 as well. And then there's extension questions below from the book. Okay, for those of you who need a bigger challenge with these. Okay, that'll do us for this lesson. Well done, everyone. Work hard on these, and we will. The next lesson we'll start applying this knowledge to kind of word problems and sort of things like that. Okay, right. Good luck with it all. Cheers. Bye bye.